Do you ever find that it feels like no matter where you go or what you do, there are always rules? Rules that you have to follow. When you're at home, don't put your feet on the table. Don't watch too much TV. Brush your teeth. Eat your dinner. Then you go to school and it's wear a uniform, be quiet, work hard. No matter where you go, there are lots of rules you have to follow, and worse still, there are seemingly lots of people who are intent on making you stick to those rules. It can feel very unfair. But did you know that when Jesus was on the earth, lots of people thought that's what the Bible was all about? Just lots of rules. Rules about don't do this, do that, wear this, worship there, don't say that. Rule after rule after rule. And there were people who loved it. They thought this is great, we stick to the rules, we'll make everyone else stick to the rules. And they really didn't like the fact that Jesus came along and he started teaching about this thing called love. So they decided they wanted to test him, see if they could catch him out. So they went to him and they asked him a question. They said, "What is the most important rule of following God?" Now, they were probably expecting him to name one of the 10 Commandments, and then they'd have him. If he said, "Obey your parents is the most important rule," well then what about the other commandments? If he said, "Keep the Sabbath day holy," well what about worshipping only one God? It was a difficult situation. How could he answer this? But Jesus, of course, he had a much better answer than they expected. His answer was all about love. Jesus said, "You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your mind. This is the great and first commandment. And the second is like it. You shall love your neighbour as yourself. And on these 2 commandments depend all the law and the prophets." Matthew 22, verses 37 to 40. Jesus managed to give them an answer that really covered all the commandments in one go. So I thought, why don't we spend a little time over the next few weeks thinking about love? So this week we're going to look at that first commandment, how we are to love God. And then next week we'll look at the second, how we are to love others. And then the next week we'll look at something slightly different, but still to do with love. Now, what do you think it means to love God with all your heart, your soul, and your mind? It means that you love him completely. You don't just say you love him and go to church, put a bit of money in the offering and listen to a sermon. You need to love God all the time in every way. Like, take this cake. Say this cake represents all the love we have to give. So we think about the things that we love and we think about our friends. And so we take a bit of the cake and we say, "Oh, well, that's the bit for my friends." And then we think about our family and we sort of say, "Oh, well, I really love my family, so I need a big bit for my family." So we've got the bit for our friends and the bit for our family. And then we think, "Oh, hang on, I love God, so I've got to give God some cake too, but there's not as much left as there was, is there?" Now, you see, what Jesus is saying is actually, we've done this the wrong way round. We should be loving God first. We should be giving God the best. What we should actually be doing is saying to God, "You have the whole cake. You have it all." You see, some people think that their faith is like a Sunday coat. Something they put on a Sunday morning, they trot down to church, they listen to a sermon, They talk to a few people, say a few prayers, sing a few songs, and then they're done. They're good with God for the week. They can go about their lives, not worry about God, but they're all good with him because they went to church. That's not what Jesus is saying. Jesus is clearly saying that God isn't just a Sunday thing. You should be loving God completely all week, all the time, in everything you do. He's got to come first. It sounds like a lot of work, doesn't it? And it sounds like a very one-way thing. We do all the work loving God. But see, here's the special thing. If we give God all of our love, all of the cake, he doesn't just take it and leave us with nothing. No, he still encourages to love our friends and to love our family. But we do it through him. The really special thing is that if we put God first, if we think about him, if we pray to him, he actually ends up giving us back a lot more than we give to him. We actually end up with far more than we started with. Now, that really is like having your cake and eating it.